All right. Steven here along with Larry for some Talking Swish. Today, Steven, what are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about some casual Magic today,
Yeah,
which is pretty different than what we've been talking about on all the other episodes.
yeah,
That's pretty
it's
cool.
going to be nice since we've been doing nonstop competitive tournaments.
Yep.
I'm about over it.
Yeah. I just got done with a ranked match on Arena right before this, actually. Loaded up some mono white finally decided to craft a couple Bazaries and a couple Glorious Anthems because I figured it'd be silly of me to not try and test this deck at least once or twice.
Yeah, it's mono white.
Yeah, had to give it a try. And right away in ranked Mythic, I play a mono white mirror, and game 3 get blown out by an Angelic Ascension. I have no idea if that card's actually good, but it certainly got me, which was really annoying.
That's
I guess I could maybe see this card in the sideboard for certain matchups. It seems kind of cool against mono red if they try and like Bone Crusher a guy to be like, nope, we'll counter that and get a 4/4, and usually it's gonna be a 5/5 or whatever in this deck because you're Glorious Anthem.
No,
he was cool. Playing banners in his list, which was cool too. So.
Yeah, I saw that when I was upstairs briefly. But yeah, today we're gonna be talking about casual Magic. And casual Magic is such a loose term.
Yeah.
And we'll be getting into that. And we have a special buddy slash teammate along here.
Yep, special guest. He knows a lot more about the casual side of it than we do. So
yeah,
it'll be good to have
it's gonna be nice. This is gonna be a nice conversation. They're gonna be here for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, talking some casual Magic, different forms. But without further ado, let's bring our special guest on.
Yep.
Mr. Danny Peterson.
How's it going, guys? Doing great. I'm excited. So, like I said, my name's Dan Peterson. I'm one of the Team Swish members. Now, I do have to say, I know a lot of casual stuff, but I do a lot of competitive Magic as well. I am known on both this side of the state and just kind of the team as I'm the Spirits guy. The running joke is that anyone can ask me how long I've been playing Spirits, and I will immediately just react with, at this point, we are coming up on 4 years.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, I know me first time I really met you, we were over at Nate's house, another teammate of ours, just casually testing modern stuff, and me and you were sitting there brewing up a modern Spirits list. Yep. For the updated meta.
Brewing. Hold on. Yeah, no. Okay, brewing is a very strong word there.
Okay, put it together.
I think a new set just came out. Yeah. We were tuning up because there was a tournament coming up soon.
Yeah, it was a new modern meta that we were trying to adapt it for. That's a better way of getting it. Yeah, brewing's probably an incorrect term, but you know what I mean.
Starting in August 2016, I literally had the link to the article where Caleb Durward's like, hey, look, these Spirits, they're pretty good together. Eldritch Moon gave us some good stuff, and I'm like, I like this a lot. I used to play Merfolk in Modern. That was one of my first core competitive Modern decks. And when Banned Spirits came out, and I looked, I go, this is just Merfolk with interaction.
And flying.
Yeah. Merfolk that invades doesn't need Island Walk. We'll just hang out.
Yep. That's really cool. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I didn't know Caleb did a thing on an article or talking about the Spirits thing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, he was one of the core players for that, and actually, a couple maybe a year ago at one of the GPs, I finally was at the same event as he was, and I went to him. My favorite card is Rattle Chains. I have a running joke that if I were a Magic card, I would be a 2/1 for 2, 1 in a blue with Flash, because 3 of my favorite cards to play with are Snapcaster Mage, Brineborn Cutthroat, and Rattle Chains.
I love me some Brineborn Cutthroat. The card is so good.
I think Snapcaster Mage just got a lot better with Seed of Truth being printed too, by the way. But that's for a different episode probably. But that's awesome synergy, obviously.
Yeah. Absolutely. But Rattle Chains, I love that card so much, and I went to Caleb and I'm like, hey, you doing this Spirits deck has led me to I've talked a bunch of local topics and IQs. I've been to multiple invitationals. I even day 2'd this last one. Which was fantastic because modern Banned Spirits has gotten a little bit off the rails, not great, but Pioneer, the whole entire deck just ported straight to it. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, you actually just won a little one in my local town over at Liberty Coins. You took down a little $1K or $500 tournament, whatever the tournament they did with Spirits.
It's straight up playing the deck in Pioneer. It feels like You know how like job postings will have a listing being like, we want 5 years of experience in this when it's something that's only been around for like, that's me with Pioneer Band Spirits, where I've been playing these decks so long and I'm watching all these people be like, oh, look at this playline and interaction, that's neat, and I'm sitting in the corner just, yes. That is very cool. I'm proud of you. I feel like just the granddad in the corner just yelling at the kids. Just, back in my day, I already knew that you could use rattle chains and stack the triggers correctly. Like,
That's funny.
While we're talking about spirits, what do you think of the new 2/2 for 2 rare that you can tap 2 spirits to tap down a thing? Do you think that has any potential to see play in Pioneer Spirits?
I think that does have potential. So I understand that Nebelgast exists. Well, that's the other one. There are 2 spirits.
Pilfer. I'm talking about the flyer.
Oh, Shadowface.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
My bad.
Yeah. But also, every spoiler season, anytime any spirit is ever printed, without a doubt, I get 3 to 5 messages as, hey, have you seen this spirit? It's like people assume
That's funny. Yeah.
don't know.
I was like that with Burn for a while. Like when a red card would come out, I'd be like, "Oh, are you gonna play this?" Like they did that with Ox for some reason. I was like, "No," but my Dredge part of me is like, "Oh, yes, buddy."
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, don't get me started on Dredge. But no, I think the 2/2 flyer. I understand that Nebelgast Herald exists, but the thing is, being another 2/1, and especially for 3, the deck already has, I call the Chain Whirler problem, where you just die to any kind of that effect. That having the second toughness does really matter.
Yep.
But what I like him more in is honestly a almost slightly different tune shell where you can play cards like Hanged Executioner, which makes 2 spirits on its own immediately.
That's fair, yeah.
So and that actually curves into it. What I like about this one is that every Pioneer Spirits list, you can from memory just say what they are. They're all the same. What I like about these 2 new printings, especially this guy, is that it incentivizes you to try something different. Hey,
yeah.
What if you played a different card? Huh. I do really like the other guy though. I think that guy's phenomenal for Modern, much more than Pioneer, especially with Pioneer changing the companion rule. Definitely hurt that guy's chances in Pioneer.
Okay.
Because there's a lot less casting of cards from different zones in Pioneer. I mean, it still happens, but a lot less than Modern.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
that just is the case. But Blue-White Spirits especially has always had the downside to Bant of not having the card advantage. It's always played out as a weird taxi list, but not quite enough taxes to be the most effective and not quite the most spirity aggro deck to be that. It's been that awkward middle. So getting this card advantage engine from that 2/1, I really like what that might do for the Blue-White Spirits archetype in Modern.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, like it's kind of cool to see where it is. We might have to jam some in the future. Maybe all 3 of us can get on like a Discord call or something and make some videos for our YouTube page.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We
Yeah,
don't have
that'd
any Pioneer really yet.
Besides that bad Sultai Flash we built.
Some of the really
Ooh,
poor
buddy.
Sultai Flash deck we built. Yeah.
But yeah, so let's jump into what we're talking about today. Danny, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the charge on this one. We're talking about some casual Magic.
Yeah. So that's the big thing, is that after all this talk about competitive play, the thing is, why talk about casual Magic? For me, and the reason why I'm here especially, is that while I do enjoy the competitive aspects, I've enjoyed going to these invitationals. I've loved going to these IQs and crushing them. But really, what I've realized what I like most is, to be cliche enough, the gathering part of Magic. That is, to me, above and beyond the most important thing. And the way that I operate as a person, I have a much higher empathy to a point where no one wants their opponent to lose because that's a feel bad. I feel that on a very genuine level. For if I'm playing, I generally am sitting there the whole time going, if I win, my opponent's gonna feel bad, and that's an active thought that is constantly ongoing. In one of the open that I day-two'd in Indianapolis in 2018, I actually played against a local guy for winning it. We were both at 6-2. And it goes to game 3, and it comes down to a last turn where there is a play line that the guy could have taken that would have killed me. He did not, and therefore he lost. I felt miserable day-twoing that. I mean, the phrase "oh, I day two" to something that's supposed to elicit joy, and I do have a pride in that in the sense of the magic skill to do that, but from a humanitarian level, I feel so bad. I don't know if that guy knows that he missed that line, and I will never tell him unless he listens to this and finds out, because
yeah, for sure.
That feeling is crushing to me. I genuinely will weigh, like, when I'm playing and going, okay, if I win, how much happiness am I going to experience versus how much pain is the other person going to experience, and vice versa. And that really helps me when I'm playing at events and stuff, to help kind of keep myself more level-headed, because I don't have that I need to win, I need to be the best. That driving force isn't quite there for me in the same way that everyone else is.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, no, that I can see that. Competitive Magic like puts those kind of situations on a lot though. Like I've had situations like that where you like, I've played against people that was like, oh, this could be my first day two, and then now I have to feel somewhat bad because I of course am trying to make day two as well, but now I have to try pretty much potentially dream crushing this guy that's so close to making his first day two.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't usually feel bad. We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been starting and had to day two our first open
and I think that's the more or less the reason I always feel it, because I know that feeling.
Yeah, we've all been there, and like sometimes you still lose to that guy. It is just their time to day two, and they're a solid player, and they're making that transition, and that's really cool, I think. But either way, that's a very interesting mindset for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it definitely, I get that. My brain very much operates when it comes to like enjoyment, happiness. It operates on a just very utilitarian standpoint of what's going to maximize the most amount of happiness within this group or within this area.
Okay.
And so I'm very quick to kind of self-sacrifice. Like, oh, I know that if this negative outcome happens for me, I'll probably be a little bit upset, but I know that other people, they'll be happier. So that's where that kind of comes in. And casual Magic, the reason why we're talking about this is that I've seen a lot of people talk about Magic, and what they'll do is that they'll use phrases like, oh man, I want to go back to play Magic when it was fun, and when it was, and they talk about it like it's some mystical, like, I want to go back to this place, and this place exists, and I want to be able to play Magic at that point. That is delusion. What you are doing is literally just nostalgia. You are just imagining nostalgia, because what you are doing is you are remembering the process of learning Magic and how that part is fun. You want to go back to experiencing the joy of learning that, hey, a 5/5 for 5, that's all right, but you know what's better? A 5/5 for 4. Like, all of these basic learning elements that you get to, you're doing these deck building, you make those mistakes, you realize why cards are good, why cards are bad, all of that learning process for the game, that's what people are missing, and I think they forget that when they try to talk about, oh, I wish I could go back to playing Magic like I used to in the good old days. And I think that's something to explore. I don't want people to keep having that fixation on the past of when it was good, because that really will cloud your entire view of the subject directly in front of you. In addition, I think casual Magic, or just the idea of Magic, like I said with the gathering part, Magic shouldn't be the end-all be-all of everything in your life. It shouldn't be the driving force, unless that is literally your goal. Also, if that is great, like, I'm looking at you, Dykman. Like,
Yep, for sure. I'm definitely guilty of that for sure at times.
No, and that is very reasonable. If that's what you're doing, great. But there's people that just forget the outside elements of, to me, what makes Magic the most important. And to me, it's the outside stories that involve Magic. To me, it's the equivalent of, we can talk about like sports and be like, all right, I like this sports team, and another person comes along and says, oh, so do I. You could talk about like how that team's doing this year, what their trade acquisitions have been. Do you think they have a chance this year at the playoffs? You can make all of these observations, but I don't think that's really that's not where the meat of the discussion is. I think a much more valuable question are things like, oh, why do you like this team? Do you have any memories associated with this team? Why is it important to you? Asking the questions that, instead of just being the numbers and the straight up just facts, talking about the more personal reasons why someone likes things. Like, Magic is very important to me because it has allowed me to meet so many people in my life that I would never have met on my own. I moved out to the Grand Rapids area about 3.5 years ago, and the way that I was brought up, I was homeschooled for most of my life. So for a long time, kind of trying to go out and meet people, interacting like that, has always been difficult for me. So Magic, I learned how to play it in college, and it was a great tool to be able to help bridge that gap for me. And so when I came out to Grand Rapids, I had no friends out here. I didn't quite know what I was doing, but I had Magic. And it was right around Modern Masters 17 that comes out. That draft format was sweet. And I really wanted to draft it, and I knew that'd be a great way to meet people. So I look and see a local store. All right, they're drafting at noon. Perfect. I get there at 11:57. Table's already drafting. I was very confused. Turns out their clocks were like 5 minutes, 6 minutes past. They started immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So there were no leftover players who needed another pod, so I was SOL, honestly. So I was kind of crushed. I'm like, I'm here to play Magic and meet people, and I'm not going to sit here for 4 hours. That seems
right.
That seems like low EV. So I kind of jump on Facebook trying to figure out if any other stores locally are doing any events. And I see a post from a local store, which you guys know, Galactic Toys, the one that is the store that we frequent a lot right now.
Yep.
It was in its infancy when it was at a different location that was very, very out of the way, kind of small. And I see a post from that saying, hey, we have 5 people here who are looking to draft this set. If we can get one more, we'll fire. And I immediately comment, be there in 20 minutes. And when I arrived there, that's when one of our other teammates, Jamin Mead, that is where I met him and his group of friends. They were the ones that were there ready to draft. So just from that one interaction, I was able to draft with those guys. They seemed cool. Went back to his house, played some Commander. Got Jay mad at my Noyandar Commander deck because it was very consistent and tuned is tuned so much that he will find copies of Noyandar and just rip them up because he hates that deck so much.
What does Noyandar do?
It is a 5-mana 4/4 that whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you may put 3 counters on a land and awaken it. Did you know that Inkmoth Nexus is a land? And turns out, in Commander, 10 infect is still enough to kill. So,
I see. So you can keep putting it on the same land.
Yes, you can.
Okay. You can't. It's more than just one-time thing.
That's funny.
That's ridiculous.
That's a funny thing to do.
Yeah, apparently other people don't think it's so funny, but
Oh, you want to trigger him? You just tell him the words "view from above." It is a 1 and a blue instant. Target creature gains flying. If you control a white permanent, return this spell to your hand instead of putting it in the graveyard when
what
it
on
resolves.
earth?
Noyandar is a blue-white.
That card's busted.
That's awesome.
Oh, they ever just be end of turn. Cast it. My turn. Cast it. Kill you. Oops. My bad.
My bad, bro.
That's
I didn't mean
filthy.
to. Yeah,
That is filthy. That's really gross.
Oh,
I like that. That's nice. Yeah, that.
I love Magic stories. To me, they're some of the most fun parts of the game. Do you guys have any of those kind of like outside the game, or even like tangentially related stories that you guys like telling around a new group of people, or ones that just kind of stick out in your mind?
For like just Magic stories in general, like I know when I first started, I went to my local shop over in Lansing. It was a card shop called Cards in the Corner. And I'd be playing like kitchen top with my cousins and stuff, and we were like, hey, let's go play this tournament. Like we've never done one of these. We saw it and it was like $5 and you get a pack. That's like free event. Like let's go do it. So we walked into the door and everybody looked at us weird because they obviously it was a very family like kind of room where everybody knew each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we were the outsiders. So this guy comes up, and his name was Jamie Delps. He was a buddy of Ray's and a bunch of people over in the Lansing area. He came up. He was like, "Hey, are you guys here to play some Magic?" We told him, "Yeah, we're here to play." He was like, "Oh, give me your decks." So we thought we were getting robbed or something because he was like, "Give me your decks," just straight up. And he's a bigger guy, so we were like, "Yeah, okay." So we handed him our stuff, and he opens our deck boxes. He's like, "This deck ain't legal. These cards are unplayable." he was like, took my cousins. He's like, both of these decks are not legal or unplayable. This is a standard term. He was like, stay here. He went to all of his buddies, grabbed all of their binders, and he put cards in our deck to make sure we could play.
That's sweet.
It was like
man.
the coolest thing in the world. Unfortunately, we lost him a few years ago to he ended up had some mental health issues, so it was unfortunate. But he was one of the best guys I met. That's actually what got me to start getting into the competitive scene again. Is because
That's really cool.
Because of somebody
man.
like that, where
That's
it really gave
cool.
me good influence to do so. Because I thought because I always thought Magic players and like competitive card game players were just like very douchey players, but getting to see somebody like that actually gave me a whole new light on the situation.
That's really cool. I have a kind of one of my entry level stories is a little similar to that actually. So when I first like the first couple FNMs I went to, I built this like blue-black mirror deck with a Tezzeret Agent of Bolus that I opened in a pack and just thought this card was like super sweet and wanted to build around it.
Man, the first Planeswalker you ever pull is always just so cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That first card, I have it sitting in my binder. I pulled a Garuk from M14, and that is still the same card to this day, just sitting there proud. Magic memories are just some of the most fun, enjoyable memories based around pieces of cardboard.
Yeah. Anyway, so I built this deck around it, this blue-black mirrors deck, and like went online and got like a bunch of mirror reservoirs and like a mirror battle sphere, and just like. They were all really like pretty cheap rares too. Yeah, pretty cheap rares because that standard was Clawblade standard for those who don't remember. But so I take this blue-black mirrors deck and I actually did pretty well at my first FNM. I actually think I top 8'd the first one, which was really awesome. And then the next couple weeks I came back and the deck started showing its not tier colors and went like 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. And then the next week I show up, or maybe it was at the end of that third FNM, and one of the guys who was at FNM, I think his name was Larry, ironically, but I can't remember 100% if that's right. But he pulls me aside and he's like, hey, are you kind of looking to start doing this pretty often? Is this like something you want to get into? And I was like, yeah, no, it is. I really enjoy this. This is fun. He's like, okay, I assume if you're trying to be competitive about it, you probably want to win a little more, right? And I was like, yeah, no, this deck definitely isn't giving me the kind of results I'm hoping to see. And at the time, I was like 16 or whatever, so I was young. I couldn't afford Clawblade, obviously, or the Primeval Titan deck at the time, which is like some Valakut ramp deck. But he ended up showing me the Phyrexian Metamorph Leonin Relic Warder and Soul's Attendant combo at the time. So what you would do is you would with a Soul Sister in play, you might have needed two. I think you only need one. With a Soul Sister in play, you would play a Relic Warder, and then you would metamorph the Relic Warder, and then that was like a loop of just infinite triggers. Because what happens is you would metamorph target itself, and then it just keeps coming back over and over again.
Yeah.
Because you would copy Leonin Relic Warder, and then that Relic Warder would target itself, and then because it leaves play, it just keeps coming back, so it's just infinite triggers. So you gain infinite life, and a lot of decks couldn't beat infinite life in that format. So you just like basically combo kill people, which was really, really cool. But yeah, so that's kind of a similar story with my entry level stuff to yours, Larry.
I find it very interesting that of the three stories here, that yours was incredibly gameplay focused, right? Whereas more minor leagues were more, socially oriented, and that's a big thing when it comes to like what people like are able to take out of the game. Another kind of social story I was able to do, and I would recommend doing something like this. Honestly, this was a lot of fun, and I really want to spread the word about it. It was right when Unstable came out, and I mean, that draft format is literally made to be fun. Those are literally made to be casual, have a good time.
Yep.
And it was around Christmas time, and I go, you know what? Let's do a White Elephant draft. And so what I did is that I invited my friends and said, hey, bring a $15-ish related Magic item. So like it could be a couple packs of boosters or sleeves or a playmat or something that if you were a Magic player you would enjoy getting. Then we did our draft, did our rounds, and then, based on standings at the end, that's the order that people picked from the pile of things that were brought.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
That is neat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
that's a cool system.
Yeah, we got to so everyone got to enjoy the draft. The set's fun and quirky, and then at the end of the day, win or lose, you still ended up with something good because everyone, you're a Magic player. You know what a Magic player would want to get. So there was some really cool stuff that was brought, and I had a really good time. And that's the big thing is that casual Magic. I think the number one thing behind like why people want to go back to that or why when they reference it is that they want to have fun. They want it to just be fun.
Yep.
But as we just pointed out from the stories, what is fun? Because the things that stuck out to me most were, and Larry to an extent, were the social aspects. But your mind, Dykman, went right to. I remember this gameplay interaction, super cool. Someone showed it to me. Started crushing. Boom. So, what is fun?
Yep.
You literally can't have a solid definition. That cannot happen. And if you do, like, get a Nobel Prize for that, it is a subjective term. It's not going to work. There are people that enjoy playing Tron in Modern.
Yeah,
I do not understand.
I don't know who those people
Larry
are.
enjoys Dredge.
I'm not gonna
How
lie.
do you do this?
I top 8 and open with Tron. I had a blast playing that deck.
Yeah.
So. It felt like it was some really people. Everyone was saying the deck was unplayable because Ayamugan got banned, so they weren't respecting it. And Joe Lissette had like won a GP or an Open the week before, and I'm like, I think I'm just gonna play this too. People still clearly don't think it's playable, but it obviously is. It just did really well in an event. I played it in top 8. I actually played Joe Lissette in that tournament. And after the match, I'm like, yeah, dude, thanks for showing me that this deck's sweet right now.
Yeah.
No, that deck's when people aren't ready for it, man, and even when they are, like the deck's just incredibly powerful. But anyway, yeah.
And exactly. You can talk about Tron in those lights, and all I hear is, well, when I add 1 and 1 and 1, I have 7, and I win.
And sometimes when I add 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, I have 10 for a turn 4 Ulamog.
Oh, my brain's so big. Look at how high I count. I have played Tron exactly one round once in my life. It was at a game store where the crowd was not as competitive, and I'm like, well, you know what? I want to see what this is like. I 4-0-8-0'd. I will never touch the deck again because, oh my god.
The funny thing is, the reason I put it down is it shuffles too much. Like, I just hated how often I had to mulligan and how often I just had to, like, do mechanical things.
Yeah,
it was really
I
annoying.
tested it for a
And
tournament.
this was before the new mulligan rule, too.
Yeah.
So it mulliganed a lot more.
Oh, I know.
And the thing is, it's so wild because when I was playing Tron, you have, like, the rounds where you're just firing on all cylinders, you do everything you need to do, and then you have rounds where your deck just refuses to do what it needs to do. You don't hit Tron, you're like cracking maps and stirring and just like struggling to hit the third piece, and you miss, and your deck just fumbles and doesn't do anything that it's supposed to do. Now, again, this is with the old mulligan rule. I don't even think I played Tron with the new mulligan rule, actually. I haven't picked it up since.
It's gross.
But I assume it's a lot more consistent now, so maybe that's something I should revisit at some point. But Modern has changed a lot since then. So,
and it's funny because like and especially being able to like talking about Tron from the player side. I hear you saying about sometimes you're spinning your wheels and all that. Here's the thing, as a person who plays against it, the only things I remember 1, 2, 7.
Right.
That's all.
Those are the things you remember. But there are plenty of times I try and remember the times where they have terrible draws too, because it has happened a few times when I've played against them. The Moles to 4 and they didn't have Tron on 3. The Moles to 5 and they didn't Tron until 5 or 4 and it was too late.
So yeah, my problem with the deck is the Moles to 4 and still have Tron on 3. That happens. That's my problem.
That definitely happens.
Every time my opponent has mold to 3 with Tron against me, I've lost. I've never beat on a mold to 3.
Holy moly!
You know how demoralizing that is?
That's rough. I don't think I've ever lost.
I remember playing Dredge,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not mad that they beat me because we're both playing degenerate decks. He mows a 3, and I feel confident. He goes and he turn 4 Ugins me and kills me.
Unreal. That's crazy, man. No, even playing Tron, like most of my mulls to 3 or 4, I lost the game. And a lot of times when you mull to 3 or 4 with Tron, you're playing against a rough matchup, so you have to mulligan aggressively. And then when you're at 3 or 4 cards against like Infect or Burn, they're going to kill you.
I watched Jim Davis.
Usually,
Jim Davis mulled the 1 and won a game once.
Oh,
that was crazy. Like that was just the
Was he
lucky.
playing against a mid-range or control deck?
He
or something?
he just drew runners like hit Tron
my
like
goodness.
perfectly. I was
That's
like,
unbelievable.
it was so unreal to watch. I was like, you can't get luckier than that.
No,
like,
yeah, you definitely can't.
You better go buy lottery tickets.
To be
or
fair,
something.
he did mulligan to 1, so I guess we could say he got really unlucky to mull to 1. But
I
that's
don't know.
insane, dude.
I don't know.
That's insane.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that when we're talking in this like in this environment in terms of having the overarching ideas of talking about the bad draws, the good draws, the variance, talking about these things, yeah, these are good rational conversations. But when people are talking from a level of emotion, I want to have fun, I want to enjoy things. They're not gonna care that sometimes you mulligan to 4. That's not gonna matter at all.
No, for sure. Tron is definitely not a fun experience for the guy on the other side of the table. Neither is Boggles. Which Larry and I both played in our last Modern event.
Most decks are not fun to play against. Most decks, they actively say, "I don't want you to play. I want to play all of it. You don't. No, I'm the one who plays."
Yeah, that's literally the Modern format.
Yeah, Modern is a lot of ships passing in the night, or at least was. I haven't touched Modern in a few months.
It's like a goal. It's a format where you just want to goldfish. That's honestly what you want to do.
You want to do your thing, and you want to do your.
You
thing
don't want your opponent to
does.
exist until they have to stay on your match slip. That's literally Modern.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good description of it, I think, in some ways.
Yeah. So yeah, when formats get like when Modern is like that, or when other formats get banned and stuff like that, people will try to go back to that. You know what? This is terrible. I want to go back to having fun. And there's a lot of different ways that people will try to recreate that fun. They do one of two things. I mean, one is either they just try to build the deck that they think will prevent other people from having fun, and because they view that fun is a zero-sum game, that if they have all the fun, then they'll get the magic back because now they're having it. So the kind of ends justify the means, although I would argue, but those means are mean. You're playing degenerate piles.
Yep.
Then the other way to do it is by doing something entirely differently, different formats, because Magic is sweet. The fact that you can just do Magic so many different ways.
Indeed, like Magic is so versatile. With different formats, different styles of play. Like it's an awesome game.
Yep.
Reason I'm still playing.
And I'm sure that there's definitely, if someone who gets to this point, and and we're talking these nebulous terms about casual Magic. Is there a way to do casual Magic? I'm sure there's someone that is just screaming, EDH, you could play EDH. That's the casual, fun multiplayer format.
Yep.
Hey, so here's my thesis and hot take. EDH is not even close to casual and not fun unless under hyper specific circumstances. Otherwise, the format is terrible for what it's trying to do.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I can agree with him on that too.
Yeah, no. But elaborate with what you mean. But yeah, Larry understands what you mean, and I think I understand what you mean. But keep going.
So my argument is kind of cornerstones on what kind of premises EDH sets forth as a format. So EDH, you first have to do is say, hey, what's this format? And they go, okay, EDH format, 100 card singleton. So that's technically 99 cards, but the idea of a singleton format, what that is implying is that, hey, when you are able to play 4 of a certain card, you get certain replayable patterns that end up being boring. But if you have 99 or 100 different cards, hey, we're going to be doing different stuff every time. I'm going to see different hands every time. I'm going to see new things. You don't know what's going to happen. That's the impression that I get from a format that wants to be casual.
Yeah.
You claim casual, and that's their lead-off sentence. Then they immediately trip out of the gate and go, oh, and also, you have a commander who the color identity determines what your deck can be. Yep. And the commander does a thing that, hey, what if, the rest of your deck took advantage of what that commander could do? Maybe you could build around him and have other cards that complement what he does, or he is able to use those effects and be able to advance your game plan and be able to, you're talking about doing a thing over and over. Sites like EDH Rec, I know that people rail against stuff like net decking and EDH Rec, and the reason specifically in this case is that, hey, competitive brains are going to shortcut. Oh, you're telling me that I'm building a deck that has a commander that does a certain thing. Let me go look up and see all the cards that are related to this thing that does these things the best.
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, hey, turns out most of the best cards in EDH are tutors. Because what if you just did the same thing over and over because you want to do the best thing possible?
Yep.
So to me, you have literally just broken what the initial setup of the format was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree.
In addition, hey, what is the difference between Commander and what is the difference between EDH and CEDH?
Let me say that because I have buddies that are very big. If you could see me do my quotation marks, C competitive EDH.
Yeah, thanks for CEDH because I didn't know what that meant earlier.
So on paper, let's start on paper. On paper, it's supposed to be a competitive and a casual difference.
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have with that. Both decks, so when you actually in the game, you don't know if you're running up against a CEDH because somebody could be playing the same commander but two different decks, so you have no idea what the difference is.
Yeah.
And honestly, somebody could consider it not CEDH and still be powerful.
How could they do that running the same deck? Surely that there's got to be some kind of like mechanical difference or like ban list difference between competitive and
Nope.
There's no difference.
No difference. The competitive EDH and regular EDH, same thing because competitive EDH and regular EDH is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like it's kind of
do they have the same ban list
competitive
too?
EDH. Yes, same ban list. Reminds me, they're just like a cult following where they don't want to do their own thing and give themselves a fancy name. Like that's all it is to me. Like I don't think there's a difference at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Like personal opinion, people can argue it.
Yeah.
There's not a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when it comes to, like earlier we were mentioning how different people have different definitions of what fun is. That also applies to what people think is competitive versus casual. There are players that will solemnly swear that combo killing on turn 4 is not competitive because they're not killing you on turn 3.
That's wild.
That is funny.
It's an interesting argument.
Well,
no, that's
since we're all competitive players, what we should ask, what do we consider fun? Like, what do we consider casual?
Yeah, well, Danny, go ahead, share what you've kind of already given us a little bit of insight into it, but maybe elaborate on what do you define as fun in Magic?
So I definitely define fun in Magic. Magic, I have fun when things are learned or experience is gained or something happens that is unique or new. They're one of the actually the reasons that I have gotten out of Modern is that I'd come to a point. I'm not sure what it is right now because there are people that say the decks are newer and different right now, but where I would come across decks, I'd sit down to play, and then my person would play the turn 1 land, and I go, all right, I've played this matchup for 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went through. There are Modern Burn. You want to know like in terms of the playable cards that they play, the cards that they've gained that are in their main board that are now staples. It went from Boros Charm in Gatecrash to Monastery Swift Spear in Cons to Skewer the Critics with an Eidolon thrown in there.
And now maybe Incinerator. I haven't touched Modern in a minute. I haven't tested it. I've heard from...
It's the hive mind, big talk.
And if you try to say that the Canopy... Oh, it also got the Canopy lands. All those do is just make you do the deck more. There's no... Burn has not fundamentally changed entirely. All it has done is gotten better. It has gotten more efficient, but it still will do the same thing every
same
time.
game plan forever.
Yeah.
And so that's not interesting. And that's what and that's a big thing why, I find Tron unfun because of technically the strategy that it does, but also Tron hasn't changed.
Yeah, it just gets like a few big fatties here and there.
Yeah, big
between Ulamog and Ugin, but has that... It got World Breaker, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe Golos and Gigantha.
But other than that, it's pretty much the same exact thing.
Like, it is.
The only difference is they'll throw some older cards in their main board like Thragtusk, but that's not really changing the deck.
No, not at all.
Yeah. No, strategies and mindsets have remained the same and just gotten more hyper efficient. That's inherently... It is very rare that I'll play against a deck and go, I don't know what play lines I should take here because I don't know what this deck's trying to do, or I don't... That element of surprise, those learning aspects, those aren't there as much as they were.
Right.
And that's where my fun happens. Like you can learn the new corner case things to be able to get a 2% edge there and a 0.5% there, and you can learn these things. I'm not arguing that I know everything, because that would be the worst misrepresentation of myself I could possibly give. But I don't find a 1% edge increase interesting. That's not fun to me.
Right.
What is fun to me is attacking with an Emrakul, my opponent deflecting palming it, I dispel it, and then he second deflecting palms me and I die. That's hilarious.
That is pretty funny. Real talk though, I think with you saying that, I think a format you would really love when Jumpstart comes out is Historic, because that's going to be a whole new ball game when Jumpstart comes out.
The thing about new formats like Historic, because it's still relatively new,
Yep.
and there haven't been a ton of competitive events for it.
Yep.
And when stuff like that happens, it leaves a lot of room to brew and make new decks and kind of do funner things. Now, it is kind of getting a little more. It's not fresh anymore. It's not totally
But we're
new.
getting them a whole big set called Jumpstart that's going to shake that whole format up.
It is.
So when you have like how Danny was saying, and there's a lot of players like that where they want to have fun, they want to not know what's happening, they like the element of surprise.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you do first week standard when the new set comes out, because you don't know what you're going to run into.
Yeah. And that's a lot of the reason why I was
Pioneer was so successful, because it was new.
And that's why I was super into Pioneer at first, and why I built like that green black Delirium deck, because it was like a fun mid-range deck that was still pretty competitive because the format was relatively new and not established.
That was like the first big tournament for it, actually.
It was, yeah. And you can play decks like that when things aren't like defined and established. It's just a pile of good cards doing good things, kind of a Jundy style deck. And it worked pretty well. And now you have Sultai Delirium, which is just a better version of that deck, but I was kind of close. And another thing too, like Historic early on, another reason I was able to have success making Chad that mono white Yorion deck is because we were just playing we were playing Yorion, which was busted, and then just a bunch of sweet white cards. And that was just good enough because a lot of people are just like doing their thing or whatever, but it isn't super busted. We weren't running it in the Nexus decks every round or super established Gruul decks. Even Gruul, though, kind of struggles with that.
Yeah, because it was a new format, so we got to have fun.
Yeah.
And like what Danny was saying, like you can't do that with Modern, because like his viewpoints are like right on point. Like the decks are pretty much established.
Yep.
Honestly,
that's how you consider fun.
People don't agree with me, but I think Modern is more broken than Legacy.
I would believe that.
I honestly think Modern's more busted than Legacy.
In some ways, I think it is. There's no, like, Force of Negation is not Force of Will.
Yeah, and I'm just saying,
Force of Will is like the ultimate check.
Force of Will just protects you against the degenerate decks.
Yeah.
That's what keeps those degenerate decks in check.
In check a little bit.
Like, because I play both formats.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between Modern gets to swing with these, like, 5/3 Thragtusses, and those are your win cons. Where you're winning with Pyromancer tokens as your win cons in Legacy, because that's super powerful.
Yeah, I think the words you're looking for is that the play patterns of Legacy are more varied and less defined than Modern. Yeah. Modern has a lot more of a flow chart you can follow of this. If this happens, do this, do this, do this. Whereas Legacy, with like the reason why people love Brainstorm so much, obviously, I mean, not only because it's Brainstorm, but is the amount of play patterns and thought process that have to go behind brainstorming, and the play decisions that happen are so much more varied and keep happening.
Yeah.
Whereas Modern, it is step by step, much more of the time than something like Legacy is. That's where that difference comes in. And again, I think it was very funny listening to Dykman, you talk about these new formats.
Yep.
The way that you went into them is, I'm going to play this thing that is well-defined good stuff and see what happens.
Yep.
It's very funny. That's a very competitive mindset to do, in the sense of the way that you saw having fun was I want to do well. And this looks like it'll do well. Whereas in my mind is that the way that I have fun in a new format is, that card looks neat. What if, like, we did that, but on steroids? Like, it's taking these build-arounds or overall concepts and trying to build around those, as opposed to sticking with that competitive idea of, this stuff, this is good cards, and let's see what happens when we... Like, the fun that you're getting is seeing what the metagame shapes out to.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's the playing of my own personal deck in that to see what happens there.
Yeah, and this would be a good segue into me defining what I feel is fun in Magic.
Yeah.
obviously, yes, I enjoy the competitive aspect of Magic a lot. That's why I initially got into Magic. It's like I enjoyed playing sports a lot when I was younger, so Magic is now like my competitive outlet basically. But it also I love to think. I love thinking about things
We know.
in depth. And so Magic lets me do that, and I think that's really fun. I enjoy so for games to be fun for me, so for me to have fun in games, I like to have thought process in games. I like to be able to think about things and make decisions, and the more of those things that are happening, I think that's really cool and fun. Which is a lot of the reason I liked Death and Taxes in Modern so much, is because that was a deck that offered me a ton of just things to think about and a ton of decisions. I felt like most games I lost, I could have played better, because there are just a million different things you can do in that deck, like when to pop off your Ghost Quarters to blow up your opponent's lands with Arbiter. Sometimes you need to wait a turn or two because you needed the mana in the future to use to cast your spells, type of deal, where a lot of people, I think, rush the Ghost Quarters strip mine play, which oftentimes I don't think is correct. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it isn't. And so I just thought that deck was really, really sweet. And that's another reason I like the Yorion deck so much, is I think a lot of Yorion decks involve a lot of like thinking, and the loops are cool. You get to see a lot of cards in these decks. And I think, again, like you were talking about with Brainstorm, a Brainstorm is exactly the type of card I would like to play with. I haven't played much Legacy because it's never been super relevant to me for competitive events. But Brainstorm is sweet because it involves all those decisions and things to think about, which is
single-handedly the hardest card I think to play.
Yeah, exactly, which is awesome. That's fun to me.
No,
that's enjoyable. That
for sure.
When I can look back on games and say I probably played wrong at this point, and I didn't just lose to flooding or my opponent having just an incredibly busted turn one kill or whatever. Those are the things I want out of Magic. I want to be able to look back on games and say maybe I could have played better here and there. And I like you said, Dan, you like to learn, like you want to learn, but maybe my process of learning is slightly different than your process.
Right. It's well, because the way that you're learning is the more minute. It's the more bit by bit decisions.
Yep.
Whereas I'm definitely more of the overall experience, where it's technically I could have cracked learning that I should have technically cracked a fetch at a different point. That's not. I'm like, okay, sure, I learned it, whatever. That's nothing to me. But
that's fair.
You're of the mindset of you want to be picking up these edges. That is interesting to you. It's like, oh, I see why I should fetch there. That's the fundamental difference that's happening in terms of like those big learning versus small learnings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you talked about how the Gathering is like a super huge deal for you. Honestly, that's not really that huge of a deal for me. It never really has been. That's why this age of like online Magic, I'm not minding too much, because the Gathering's cool, but I play Magic to play Magic. Like, I like to play the game. That's what I'm getting out of it. So as long as I'm still getting to play the game and sit there and make my decisions and stuff, that's good with me. And I've kind of brought similar stuff up on prior podcasts. Like, I'm like, obviously I miss people, and I am excited to get back to paper to see my friends and stuff. But I'm still getting a lot of enjoyment out of playing Magic right now.
Playing a ton. I'm opposite, comparable, because I just think the online programs aren't great.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, with me personally, I don't have fun playing competitive as much as I used to. I used to be where competitive was like super fun to me. Now it feels like a job.
Sure.
So now for me to have fun, I need something that isn't like with stakes on the line.
Yeah.
So I don't. If you want me to have fun, there can't be like, okay, if you win this, you get entry into this tournament. You get say $500 or whatever. I need a thing like cube drafting, things like that, regular drafting, anything. Like, we were drafting a ton on Arena when it came.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, another thing we're doing for the last couple of days, me and you have probably made like 30 hours of videos of standard and historic.
Yeah.
That's fun to me because we have nothing on the line and we're just having a good time.
And it made the I'm still testing for that Lotus box and I'm doing it, but it's a lot more fun and enjoyable.
And more relaxed.
It doesn't feel like there's much pressure on the line. And, stress and anxiety are not fun for anybody.
We talked about it in the mental health episode, how I was going back to my old roots on losing my mind.
Yep, and that's not fun. that sucks. Like, that's just terrible, and it
Yes.
makes you not want to play. So
Exactly.
it's really important to.
Actually, one thing I want
keep
to
the
actually
game
focus on here, just to touch back on the EDH a little bit, is that I definitely have heard a lot of people, be like, hey, when I get super stressed and whatnot with the competitive everything, using EDH as an outlet, to be like, oh yeah, this way there's no stakes and I'll just play this format to have a good time. But then I've also watched these same play groups legitimately get mad at each other and have to like take breaks from playing because of how different the people clash in terms of what they want to accomplish, how they want to unwind, relax, and have fun. If you as a table of 4 EDH players can't all have a similar enough definition of what a typical game flow looks like in EDH, or what a good win versus a bad win, what that looks like, if there's gonna be conflicts there, it's not gonna be an enjoyable experience for everyone.
I 100% agree with that.
That's why I get upset when people talk about it being the fun casual format. I'm like, you take your commander deck to a Magic Fest, you're gonna play, and you sit down at a quote unquote fun table, you're gonna play against the fun group hug guy, the stacks guy, the combo guy, the aggro guy. You're gonna play against all of those, and they're all gonna enter thinking that everyone else has that same idea of what is fun, competitive, or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think one way I do not want to like knock EDH in terms of like what it can be, because I have seen the EDH groups that are very together and play a lot and everything. They are having a good time, and I think that's one of the most important things to make EDH a fun, casual format. At the beginning, I had said where there are very specific circumstances in which I believe EDH is a very good casual format, and I think the number one thing is you need to have a consistent group of players, no outsiders. You need to have a specific, these are the people I play EDH with. You need to have people that you can talk to about EDH in terms of not just like what types of decks to play or what's fun or not, but also I would encourage play group banning of cards. Yeah. I have seen way too many people. Jamin here talked about one of his friends keeps playing land destruction spells. Oh, he keeps playing these spells, they're not fun. And so sitting here listening to him, and I'm like, you play EDH with these people a lot, and they know that you don't like this. Why do they keep doing it then? And having those conversations and be like, hey, I find it unfun when your decks are doing this type of these types of spells, are doing this type of thing, and then they're able to tell you the things that you do that are taking away from the experience. And being able to craft an experience together, that's where you're gonna get that casual feel out of EDH that everyone kind of brags about what the format can do.
And if it's a true casual format, like when I played EDH at one point, like it's very, very vaguely that I played it, but we had a group, we did our own like ban list and stuff, and or like we let the uncards be allowed based on minus the two of them, because we're like, we're not competitive. If we're truly thinking that this
we're
is
trying to have
casual
some fun.
time, then why do we have to have a list that we can just do our own thing?
We do what you want.
Like we didn't
it's
play like mono land destruction things like that, because we're all just here. Because we play games for like 4 hours long, just chilling.
Yep.
Like it got to a point where I actually took a deck that I had that I loved for EDH. It was like a mono blue Nezha, but I was like, this ain't fun on either part. Like I'm combo killing everybody on turn 5 with this.
The combo kills aren't fun.
I told people, I was like, that's not what I'm in EDH for. I'm literally here just to have a good, relaxed time.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to spend a couple hours just shuffling because I'm beating you on turn 5 and now let me reshuffle up. Like that's all I'm doing at that point.
Yeah. One of my buddies one time built the funniest EDH deck, and I think it's like a thing that people do. I think Zedru is the commander, the chess guy, like donkey thing.
Yeah, I know Zedru.
And the whole deck was just nonsense. It was just designed to make the game go as long as possible and be as complicated and weird as possible. It was playing like Knowledge Pool and like there was like some weird epic spells in there. There was Goblin Game. For those who don't know, Goblin Game is wild. You like take items from around your play area that are like around you, and you like hide them and stuff, and whoever hides like the least amount gets punished, and whoever hides the most gets punished. So you like don't want to take too much, but you don't want to take too little. It's a crazy, just all sorts of wild nonsense. He was playing I think the name of the card is Shahrazad. It like starts a game within the game. It's just complete nonsense. But it was super funny to play against. So you like never tried to kill him either, because you just wanted the nonsense experience of it.
And then anybody that knows me personally,
but the thing is, at the same time,
You said what?
At the same time, I literally know a person on the team who would literally hear just the description of the Zedger deck and just go, why? How is that fun? That sounds like misery. Why in God's name would you do this?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't want to dissuade the people that are like, but I play EDH where I combo kill on turn 5. That's fine. If everyone at the table understands that that's what you're doing or what's the expectation.
Yeah, that's fun for you to do
absolutely.
that. If you want to play EDH Modern, go for it.
Yeah, do you, bro? Do you? Me personally, I'm the kind, we could be playing for 4 hours, and I'm like, I want to keep playing Armageddon. Like, I have been the guy where we played that long, and I've board wiped the creatures and lands in the same turn. I'm like, let's restart. It's like I have Karn.
Yeah. I do think that's pretty fun. Yeah, as long as there are interesting things happening, you could keep a game entertaining for 3 to 4 hours. As long as it's not like boring stuff.
Here's the thing. The thing is that everyone has to decide at the table collectively that is a fun thing to do. And so, like I said, being able to talk amongst your group, almost like a group therapy session, be able to do that and have that expectation of what fun is, then you're not going to leave the ADH table disappointed in terms of like, oh, I thought we were coming in for fun night, and then he pulled out Urza. Like, all right. Expectations are definitely failed expectations. I feel lead to a lot of the least amount of fun in Magic.
Like one of my favorite decks I ever made was Samvala, the green-white commander. You know, the one where everybody gets to flip the top card, do a thing. My deck was green-white elephants, and that was the ringleader.
That's sweet.
It was. Have you ever played 7 mana for the most vanilla creature ever?
That's
I have.
Oh,
I haven't played Aether Vial.
That's so funny.
You know how hard it is to violent elephants?
It's probably very difficult. What do you do? Take it up to 6 or 7? Oh, buddy, that's
But that
cool,
deck was just so much fun because
it's funny.
I always got second because nobody messed with me because
they know you're just screwing around. That's so funny.
And that's casual Magic in my opinion. Like doing stuff like that where I'm just purely having fun.
Yeah, you're
just
playing to play.
That's why my favorite format for casual Magic all time will be Cube Draft.
Yep, which is what we're getting into next, I believe, right? We're going to start talking about a little bit of Cube.
Also, one thing before we get to Cube, though, I believe there is a very special place in hell for the people that kill the group hug player. He just wants everyone to have fun, and you stabbed him in the back. You monster.
I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely been that guy. I played.
I don't draw a card. What are you up to?
Yeah, what? You're not gonna wrap my board, are you? You're up to some
Someone
nonsense
having
over there.
fun for the sake of having fun, impossible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember one of the first decks I played was Rafik, and you better believe I killed the have fun guy because I didn't want any nonsense out of him. He looked sketchy over there trying to have fun.
He's like,
it's time to throw a sword.
Like, every time somebody's like, you could draw a card or put a land and then look at him and be like, are you playing Storm?
Yeah.
I'm just so sketchy.
Oh, yeah. Just time to throw a sword of fire and ice on my Mirren Crusader.
Everybody in the EDH is guilty until proven innocent.
That's right.
I will never play EDH with both of you then.
Oh, no, you wouldn't want to play EDH with me. If you thought Judge's Tower was bad with me, you better believe EDH is going to be bad.
Well, Danny, I don't know if you know this, but I like to troll people a lot. And if I do something to you and I realize it affected you like too much, the rest of the game is focused on you because I want that reaction from you. Oh, I crave it.
Yes, the Xbox Live chat experience.
Yes.
I understand.
I was like, you are my target for the rest of the game. It's over. That's why I can't play mono blue because I'm the worst. I just literally before the game I roll a dice for each player and I'm like, all right, whoever wins the die roll doesn't play.
Yep.
You sound like the player that like you'll play like 4 games and in the 4th game you will just immediately kill someone and they go, why did you do that? And you go, hey, remember game 1 when you attacked me with a Land War Elf on turn 1 because you had nothing else to do? Yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah, I never forget
the politics, man.
I hate
that's
people
another
like
part
that
of
so
EDH
much.
I hate is the politics. I just literally play purely to have fun.
Before we get on to Cube, there is one other big thing why EDH will always have struggled to be able to be fun. Hey, what are the cards that you're putting in your deck designed for? Mm-hmm. They are designed for a 1v1 competitive experience that you are trying to efficiently kill your opponent. I've gone on EDH Rect and looked at the top 100 cards over the past 2 years. Yep. Of those 100 cards, 2 of them came from a multiplayer set.
Yeah.
One of them was Smothering Tithe. The rest are all cards that are designed to be ruthlessly, efficiently, get the most mana, be the best spells, kill the most people.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the social fun has to come from people interaction. The game itself is not going to facilitate it because those cards just aren't there.
Yep.
It's not built that way.
At the same time, well, if we're going to talk about EDH, I do, however, think Brawl is fun.
I think Brawl has a different thing because it's made to, like, it is, I'd say, more tuned to be a 1v1 experience. Like,
Yes, I agree.
It is designed to be more do that, so you're using cards for their, I'd say, intended purpose. But also because the cards are inherently a little bit less powerful, when you play in multiplayer, it's a lot less, someone's not going to jump out ahead immediately, someone's not going to be able to kill at the ruthless efficiency that you can in traditional Commander. That's where the power level difference really helps the social element. Because you can't just go, oh, I'm going to kill you, and there's nothing you other players can do about it because I'm so far ahead. That's not as relevant there.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. EDH, like, people can consider it casual, do it to everybody's own. Me, personally, I don't consider it a casual Magic format. I just think I think maybe at the inception it was probably casual.
Depends how you play.
Yes, and it depends on play. Like, if I found a good play group, then I could probably play some casual EDH and I'd have a good time. I can go crack out and pay my $50 to buy that elephant deck again.
Yep.
Because believe me, that deck is dirt cheap. I promise you.
What? No way.
I know, it's so surprising. Literally, the deck didn't have Aether Vial. The Aether Vial was like the cost of the whole deck.
Yeah.
When I first put it in there. And it was just to be funny. Just because I was like, oh, I got a busted card that's not going to ever be busted in this deck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely of the mindset if your mana base is more expensive than the rest of your deck, like in kind of Commander and whatnot, you probably have a fun deck.
Yeah, and trust me, and my mana base wasn't even expensive either. I played no shocklands, no fetches. I was like, we were like gain a life when this enters.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Man, that's fun.
Would you play it unsleeved on the cement? Like that's
No,
how
the
casual
sleeves
it
are more
sounds.
expensive than the deck. Because I bought some of them little $20 sleeves that just came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
What was those? Like the little Magic Anniversary sleeves?
Yeah. Dragon Shield Anniversary ones.
Yeah. Those ones are nice to shuffle, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you use them, but they were hot.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I love foils. Why would you use sleeves that are designed to make foils look worse?
Yeah.
That's fair.
But yeah, let's hop into some cube conversation.
Yeah, I do love me
we brought
some
up cube.
Yeah, I love me some cube.
Cube is awesome, dude.
Best way, and our teammate Dewey is an MVP for bringing cubes onto the trips with us because that's so much fun.
But yeah, Danny, talk to us a little bit about how you personally feel about cube.
Yeah, I think Cube. It is a very rare experience to find someone who has played Cube and will say, "Oh no, I think Cube is terrible," or "I don't like Cube." The people that typically will say negative things about Cube haven't done it, or they'll say it about a specific cube.
Yeah,
and I believe that Cube has an issue because honestly, I think once you get to the competitive point where you can't go back to kitchen table Magic and learning how the game works, I think Cube is actually the most casual fun a competitive player can have.
Yep.
Being a limited format, limited already has an element of whether it be drafting or sealed or whatnot. You have those moments you're learning. You're trying to figure out what's good in the format, what's not, what to put in the deck, what to grab, what to build. There's all those learning aspects that experienced players will gonna love and sink their teeth into. And in addition, the amount of different ways to have fun in Cube, I mean, let alone all of the different types of cubes that you can do. And these cubes are going to be curated to, you're going to play a cube that is going to have cards and be an environment that you enjoy. Like all of the cards that be like, oh, I like these cards. I like these playstyles. I like the way these things work together. Those are the types of cubes that most people have or build. And so the environment's already set up to be fun. Yep. Drafting is fun, whether you're the person who finds the fun in finding those edges of being, let me read the table, let me figure out the best place to be in, whether you're the guy that just goes, I'm the Azorius guy, I'm building blue-white control, and F you all. Yep. Or the guy that goes, that's a jank build around, if it's in this cube, that probably means there's other support.
Yep.
All the different types of players, all the different Magic player profiles are able to find fun within cube, just the drafting portion.
Absolutely.
And then the gameplay afterwards. Again, the games are going to be more fun than on average than regular Magic because of the environment that has been selected. And you get to have those fun moments every time of, hey, this is the deck that I built. These are the cards that I picked. I thought this was going to be good, and it was. I thought this was going to work out. Didn't pay off. I learned.
Absolutely.
You're going to enjoy every aspect. And especially...
I have one of those stories with a deck me and my buddy called Kiki Animator. Because it was a Grixis deck that was a Reanimator deck, but we were combo killing with Kiki Jiki out of the graveyard.
Really?
So there was
I've never seen that coming when you said the name.
Yeah, but it was hilarious because one of the games we played, we like looked totally dead. We had maybe a card in hand or whatever. It was like a Pestermite or a Deceiver, and then we ripped the Reanimate for Kiki and just like combo killed our opponent.
That's
But
hilarious.
that was wild. It was a wild deck. But it was one of the more funny decks I've ever built in Cube, honestly. It was just hilarious because it's so abnormal. Usually you're playing Reanimator or you're playing Kiki Jiki. You're not jamming them together in the same deck.
Yeah.
But it was just cool. It was a lot of fun.
The amount of cube stories that people have, I think, is incredibly high.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's made to be fun. That's the point. It's trying to fill that void that people have had, trying to have fun Magic. Here's the catch-22. Here's the monkey's paw. Here's the situation. You know how Dungeons and Dragons, you try to get 4 people together to do anything? Yeah, double that.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's rough.
And I think that's why it's so easy. It was better for us because we're going on these large groups, going to Magic tournaments, and Dewey would come and be like, "Hey, I'll bring my cubes," and we would just sit there. We'd go like at the last one in Indy, we were down at the bar or whatever. We were just drinking, grabbing some beers, and we are just cube drafting.
And this is why the Moto Cube is so popular because it's easy to set up from there. You just hop on your computer and go, "I want to play some cube," and you enter in.
Yeah, and then they got the arena cubes now, which you've seen me.
They're super fun, man. They're all really
I've done
cool.
them.
I have another.
I was honestly
too,
impressed.
Where I was able to, my buddy Zach Allen would attest to this. It's one of the funniest cube stories we have is we were doing a draft together and he was drafting like a mid-range deck or whatever, and then his internet went out, so I had to hop on for him, and we're in a pack and a half through, and I was like, dude, we know mono white's always open. It's been open. We're playing pack and a half white because I had missed a good amount of picks while he DC'd, like 5 or 6, and it had picked some white cards already. I was like, dude, we're jamming it. We're playing mono white, and we're just doing it pack and a half. We 3-0'd the draft, and we beat a buddy who also drafted mono white in a match who was on the Discord call with us. We got paired against him, and we beat him because we randomly had a Wrath effect in our sideboard because it auto-picked the Wrath effect for us. And I boarded this Wrath effect in, and we had Selfless Spirit in our deck too, so I was able to set up a one-sided Wrath, which was just ridiculous in the mono.
You don't have to tell me Selfless Spirits. Oh man,
Danny, wait,
wonderful.
You know what Selfless Spirit does?
Are you talking about the 1 and a white for a 2/1 flying spirit that sacrifices itself to give her team indestructible and blows out supreme verdicts? Woo! The amount of sad faces on blue-white control players when that's the card you play on turn 2, and they just stare down and go, "Why? Why have you done this?"
Oh, trust and believe. I've mana leaked the Selfless Spirit.
You have to.
Because
it will kill you.
Spirit and not feel bad about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The only way I lose it when I play blue-white is if you get rattle chains. That's too much work I have to do.
Before we finish all this thing about Cube, I definitely want to hold on. Yeah, people do not respect rattle chains at all, and you people are dumb. Rattle chains is the best card in the deck, and anytime you play less than 4, I cry.
We have had this conversation that I don't think people that play rattle chains is a one-up.
You can't avoid it with Danny. You can't avoid it with Danny.
You absolutely not. Here's the thing. I think that people who cut rattle chains have never understood the concept of what flash threats are.
No, that's why you don't do drugs and magic. That's what you'll cut rattle chains.
The ability to go and do it better than the control deck is the most wonderful feeling. If you land against blue-white or any control deck, you go turn 2 rattle chains, and they don't kill it immediately, you don't have to do anything the rest of the game.
And just wait. Speed, which is nice.
They will die.
Yeah. Oh no, it's just that there's no bad side to it. There's no side where you're like, I don't want to cast up on my opponent's turn.
Yep.
Because now they got to think like, is he going to play company or a creature here?
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just a pain.
The biggest thing, like when I was playing, because I played so many rattle chains, the constant play, the constant local legend is that I always have Spell Queller, which I don't, but people always assume I do, which works out well to my advantage, especially when you play 4 rattle chains, because what you do is you go turn 1 Dork, and then you go turn 2 land pass, and your opponent, because it's me, they assume I have it, so they play a line. Typically, it might not. This line's a little bit less optimal, but it doesn't get blown out by a Queller. I'm like, yeah, you got it. End step, rattle chains, wander. My turn, land, go. Play around my whole deck, because now I can cast anything.
Yeah. For sure. No, for sure. Yeah, no, Spirits is sweet though.
Yep.
Like,
cool deck.
I realized there was no way I was going to get through this whole podcast without definitely jumping onto the Spirits train.
Oh no,
I don't know that I've
this
ever
is a
talked
podcast
with you and not
This
heard
is
about
called
how good
Casual
Rattle.
Magic and How Spirits is Unplayable. That's the name of this podcast.
Self-proclaimed name.
My heart, it broke.
It's broken, shattered. No, but the second time, hands down, like I said, Cube Draft is gonna be my favorite. I like all kinds of Cube Draft. Like I prefer not to play Power Cube. It's not it's not my ideal one to play.
My favorite
I'll
is the
still
Modern
play
Cube.
it. Actually, I like Peasant Cube.
I've never played that. Oh, that's what Dewey had.
Yeah,
actually.
I like it because you gotta think harder when you're drafting.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
For those who don't know, Peasant Cube is just all commons and uncommons.
Yeah, I believe so.
Any card that's ever been printed as a common or an uncommon is.
Yeah, so it is not underpowered at all.
Yeah.
There are some very good commons and uncommons that.
No, there are. It's still still powerful. It's still fun.
Don't get mistaken. Brainstorm's a card.
Yeah. So Cube has the problem where it's gonna be the best, typically most fun casual thing you have, but it's so hard to set up.
Yeah.
Which is the frustrating part. Which earlier you mentioned, which is I believe is going to be our final topic, and it is my kind of custom solution to that mindset, and it kind of ties together everything that how I view fun is and how I enjoy Magic and how I enjoy the game.
Yeah.
And it is the format Judge's Tower. And here's the thing. You hear the name, and if you look up what Judge's Tower is, you will want to vomit. Because Judge's Tower is gross. If you've never seen it before or never heard it, what Judge's Tower is, traditionally, it is a format of it is a deck that is about 200, 250 cards constructed like a cube that is full of cards just to have rulings interactions. The idea of Judge's Tower is that you must take every game action the earliest you could possibly do it, otherwise you lose. So the idea is that for example, untap, upkeep, and I go to my draw step. And I draw the card, and it is Thunderous Wrath, which is a burn spell for red, deal 5 damage, but has Miracle for a single red. So, if I go on tap, upkeep, draw, this is a format where you have no life total, no mana, nothing. You are assumed to be able to pay for everything. Just, you can do it. The idea is just to play the cards and just not play the cards. You look at Thunderous Wrath, and if you go, in my draw step, I guess I'll cast Thunderous Wrath. If you cast that card for its Miracle cost, in Judge's Tower, you have lost. The idea behind Judge's Tower is that you must do things the earliest you possibly can. Miracle is a trigger that goes on the stack. Hey, there's a Miracle trigger on the stack. You have an instant spell in your hand. Oh, in response, you should cast Thunderous Wrath for 6. So, the idea behind Judge's Tower traditionally is that it is entirely full of pedantic nonsense that you have to just keep remembering, and if you forget to, I forgot to put a counter on this, I forgot to tap that, I forgot to do all of this, you lose. And the idea being is that when you want to, it's like golf, you want to lose the least amount of times as possible, and once you've gone through the deck, the person with the least amount of losses wins. The thing with this format is that, one, it's literally made for people that just want to be smarter than other ones. Yes, I'm a judge. I know all of the rules. I am such a smart magic boy. Like, that's literally what it was designed for. But there's an interesting concept in Judge's Tower. The idea being, the way to be the best at Judge's Tower, the way that you play Tower, is to play as much Magic as physically possible. In fact, you lose if you don't play Magic. And that right there is a concept that I found incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
because that's the thing. When people talk about Magic stories and gameplays and cool things, they never call. Yeah, one time, I just cast a Blood Moon, and then 12 turns later, I won the game.
Oh my god, I have such a wild Blood Moon story.
The thing is, like, people don't tell the stories where they just go, well, this non-game happened and I won. Like, people don't proudly exclaim that. That's not what normal people do.
I have the wildest Blood Moon story. At one of the last opens, I guess it wasn't that recent, but I'm playing against Gerard Fabiano and I'm playing Amulet, and I was able to I turned 2 to Titan or whatever through like 3 hand hate spells. It was insane. And then he's playing Death Shadow, and literally he goes, he untaps, says, good game, and I'm thinking he's conceding to me. Like, I literally think he's conceding because he's never beating this turn 2 Titan. And then he just Blood Moons me out of Grixis Death Shadow, and I'm like, what on earth? But,
that was in Philly. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You were. You were there. You were the teammate for that. Yeah. No,
that was the most wonderful experience I've ever seen in my life. Just it felt like literally a scene out of a card game anime, where like the hero's just like, well, I guess that's game over, and the villain's like, haha, so I've won, and then the hero's like, actually, you. Like, it felt just one of those just intense, someone call an ambulance, but not for me.
The game itself was not a very good game of Magic, but it is a hilarious story for sure, and definitely something.
Absolutely. So people don't like exactly the thing that's fun around that is not the fact that you lost to Blood Moon not allowing you to tap lands.
Yeah.
The fun was definitely the atmosphere around it.
Yeah.
And in the same way, the way that original Judge's Tower is made, it emphasizes you got to do all this nonsense. You got to just do a bunch of little things, and it's made to be frustrating. In addition, one other thing I haven't really touched on is that it kind of harkens back to the way that my brain works in terms of how I have fun with the utilitarian idea of maximizing the amount of fun.
Yep.
In my brain, if anything that is PvP, player versus player, is always going to be less fun to me than PvE. Because with PvP, someone has to lose.
Yep.
I love Smash Brothers. I play it a ton.
Yep.
And it is miserable because trying to play Smash with people, I'm enjoying playing this game, but someone is going to lose, and there's a good chance one of us is going to be mad about losing. And that's not fun. That's not fun. Losing to a person gives you a target for your anger or sadness or whatever in that case.
Yeah.
So, my thought process behind the way that I tuned Judge's Tower and the way that I kind of approached it was being able to change it to PvE.
Okay,
Make the focus not being about winning the game, but the goal to be to not lose, but to not put like actual points emphasis on that being the thing that determines an overall winner. Like a Nazi zombies style, like those the traditional just go as long as you can. When you die, you don't. I mean, you get a little upset that you die. Oh, I accidentally didn't run the right direction. But then you can just jump back and keep playing another round. Like that's the point of PvE style games, and that was the feeling that I wanted to emulate. And so I took a lot of the Judge's Tower lists that were made to be gross, took some of the cards that were actually fun and interesting, and added a bunch of unique rules of my own to help facilitate that idea. So there are a couple main differences, and I have an actual document that I can share, and we can put in the notes for this for both my rules list for how my Judge's Tower is played. In addition to the actual list itself, it is on a MTG card database that we can link, so you can see what types of cards are in there and what kind of effects are interesting and work in this. Yeah. So the main goal that I've stated is that you must perform all possible game actions as soon as possible without missing triggers, abilities, phases, or steps. So still just like normal Tower. All players use a shared library, have separate graveyards, and start with 0 cards in hand. In original Judge's Tower, you all share a graveyard, which that's what we did at first because that's how Judge's Tower was run. But what we realized is having a shared graveyard prevented us from being able to put in cards into the tower that were able to reward or emphasize personal graveyards.
Yeah.
Cards like flashback spells, cards that get stuff back from your graveyard.
Yep.
Things that make it so that like, oh, I want to kill my own things, and then someone can revive it from your graveyard. It would target you specifically to have that kind of like fun little competitive edge there. Making your own graveyard matter just helps a lot of add a lot of really neat cards.
Yeah, for sure.
In addition, in normal Judge's Tower, you have to do as much as you can. You must attack if able. In normal Judge's Tower, you must block. If you have a creature that can block, you do. And I realized how limiting that was because a lot of the things in Judge's Tower, a lot of the creatures suck for you. Like, you don't want to have them on the battlefield. They're going to have effects like, on your upkeep, you draw an extra card, or when this happens, you have to do something else. They have triggers and things to remember. And if your opponent's creatures have to block, if I go, oh, man, this is a really bad creature, next turn it's going to be bad for me, and I play a 4/4, and then on my opponent's turn, he plays a 5/5 blocker, I go, oh, I'm fine. Because he'll have to block, and it will die.
Yeah.
That's not interesting.
Sure.
The one much more fun social dynamic is, hey, nice creature you got there. I'm not blocking. You're keeping that around.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Nice.
Adds such a fun, dynamic social element to that. As well, the way that original Judge's Tower is set up, the way that it works, it's one of its restrictions about casting cards is you must activate every activated ability of permanents you control once per turn, once per legal target as soon as possible, and you must always activate abilities from the bottom up. For example, so like on like Mosswart Bridge or lands that have an activated ability, that one's on the bottom, so you activate that instead. And the thing is, that's the only rule that has about activated abilities and that kind of thing, once per turn and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And what would happen very early on is we realized that loops would get established. And in some Judge's Towers, like, that's actually like fine. Like, they're like, oh yeah, you've established this loop. Like, the almost reward is figuring out that you did a loop. Like, you lose if you don't realize that you loop a thing. That can happen sometimes, but that's not fun because that leads to the idea of, oh, one person is just doing all of the playing and none of us are playing. You know when someone just like pops off in EDH, they take a turn that's like 10-15 minutes, but they don't actually do anything, and you sit here just go, why? What's the point then? That's what was happening in Judge's Tower. We realized is that, if we want to try to make this more social, we want to try to limit as much of those pop-off kind of things as possible. So the rule we added was that once you've activated an ability of a card, you may not activate abilities of cards with that same name until your next upkeep. Mm-hmm. As well, once you have cast a card, you may not cast cards with that card name until your next upkeep. So what that does is that lets you play flashback cards, and you have to remember that it's in your graveyard to cast it later. Otherwise, you just cast it, recast it, it's over. Mm-hmm. That's not a fun, interesting dynamic. Or looping cards. You know, someone just going, cast this draw spell, cast this thing that gets an instant back, cast this draw spell, keep going. They keep going. And it's like, no, we want to encourage as many people as playing. So these rules are put in place to encourage. We're all playing, we're all having a good time. In addition, the Monarchy's in play. The Monarchy is the number one most fun, I think, multiplayer mechanic they've ever introduced. It is wonderful. I think it is genuinely the best mechanic they've ever introduced to try to encourage multiplayer behavior. Sure. So there's a lot of Monarch cards in the tower. Because the rule we added is that if someone in the game is the Monarch, you must attack them if able. Uh-huh. So that leads to the ultimate, like, what Monarch was designed for, that back and forth. And in this case, it's a hot potato situation where you don't want to be the Monarch. You're drawing extra cards. You're going to have more things to remember. It adds a very awesome dynamic to what the Monarch was designed for in multiplayer, to be a positive, and turn it into a fun multiplayer dynamic and just, again, create interesting things that happen. Yeah. Judge's Tower is all about things happening. You losing to, oh, that's an interaction I didn't see before. Oh, that's cool how this card interacts. I've never seen this card before. The Judge's Tower is very cheap because most of the cards in it are very bad. Because the worst rares are usually the ones with the most text. And those are typically very good for Judge's Tower. One of the best cards in Judge's Tower, in terms of how many times it has caused someone to lose, is Sphinx's Decree. Can either of you tell me what that does off the top of your head right now?
What was it now?
Sphinx's Decree.
I'm thinking of Sphinx's Insight. So, I don't quite remember. Is it a white instant?
The
It
Kree
is not
seems
an
like a
instant.
black card.
But it's a Sphinx, so it's probably blue or white. It might be blue. Might be blue and white, honestly. Anyway, tell us what it does.
Yeah, I'm looking at it in front of me. It is a 1 and a white sorcery
Yeah,
from
that's what I
Arrivals of
thought.
Ixalan.
That's
Each
what I thought.
opponent can't cast instant or sorcery spells
Yep.
during that player's next turn.
Yep. It was a card that was kind of based around that mythic Sphinx. It was like the smaller version of the Sphinx or whatever, because there was that mythic blue white Sphinx in that format.
Azor the Lawbringer, who is also in the tower and has the same ability of when it enters the battlefield,
right?
each opponent can cast instant or
Yep.
sorceries during that player's next turn.
Yep.
What happens in Judge's Tower is that people forget or don't read cards.
Yeah.
So, for example, on my turn, I have cast Sphinx's Decree, and in a row, watched 3 people in turn order lose. One person, literally, draw, tap a quick draw. Oh, cast this instant on my draw step?
You lose.
Hey, remember the card that I just played that said you can't do that? Yeah, no. Stop that. Another person, second person drew his card. Oh, said go. Third person lost to, I think, the same exact thing. Cast it when he just shouldn't. Then it went back to my turn, and then the second person went, in your upkeep, I'm going to cast this instant, because I couldn't cast it before. And he looked real smart. And I went, hey, what does the card say? And he looked terrified. Yeah, it's only during that player's turn that they can't cast it. So on that last player's turn, he should have, in response to that player's upkeep, cast that spell.
Mm-hmm.
It is delightful, the amount of people that have lost to on board have literally reminded someone, hey, don't tell that person that Sphinx's Decree is in play because I want him to forget and make him lose.
Yeah.
Oh, my turn? Draw. Play this card. What did you just say? What did you literally just say? There's one rule that I realized that I didn't mention, and it actually works perfectly to one other way that I've been able to tune this Judge's Tower to be the most fun. Azor has a second ability. Whenever Azor attacks, you may pay X, and blue, white, white, but white, blue, blue. But mana doesn't matter. If you do, you gain X life and draw X cards. In Judge's Tower, X is determined to always be 5. That is just the rule.
Okay.
Yep.
5 is a lot of cards.
Yeah.
We've had draw 5s in the tower. It makes games take 12 years.
Yeah.
But Azor's a really cool ability, and that was the thing I wanted in the tower. And for way too long, I just couldn't figure out how to do it, and then went, oh, I can just change this.
Yeah.
So, in this tower, a lot of cards have some minor errata to them. All of the lands have their mana ability removed so that you don't do that. All of the Azor, it is changed to, you may gain X life and draw 2 cards to keep it balanced. I have added, there are a lot of cards that matter about lands in play.
Yeah.
And the lands that we've added to the tower are a bunch of temples. But we added the text afterwards that they read, when this temple enters the battlefield, scry 1, then draw a card. So that way lands are in play for cards that care, but then you didn't do nothing on your turn.
Yeah.
Which makes it super interesting. As well, there's one final thing, and that's the addition of commanders. Judge's Tower can be a little bit slow. When you lose, you get rid of everything. You basically permanently exile all the stuff you have.
Yeah.
And just restart.
Yeah.
So you kind of, if you don't draw cards that let you really take actions, you keep just drawing spells either that don't do anything or just are irrelevant.
Yep.
You can kind of feel like you're not doing anything.
Uh-huh.
So we added commanders, which are exactly what they sounds like. But what they let us do is play some very bad cards as commanders that get new life in this format. The number one example, and look at it right now, Triad of Fates. Would either of you like to say what that card does?
Yeah. Is that the black white? Is it black white? I believe it is, right?
That's correct.
What is the card?
Is it 4 mana?
What's the name of the card one more time?
That's correct.
Triad of Fates. I think it's a 4 mana 4/3 or 3/3. It's 2 in black white. And I kind of forget exactly what it does. It was like kind of playable and limited. I think it had some cool abilities on it, though. Go ahead and tell us what it does. I briefly remember what it does.
The big reason why you people probably don't remember, it is actually famous for being, I believe, the least built commander on EDH Rec.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is a 4-mana 3/3 legendary human wizards.
Yep.
It has these 3 abilities. 1 tap, put a fate counter on another target creature.
Yep.
White tap, exile target creature that has a fate counter on it, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control.
Okay.
Or black tap, exile target creature that has a fate counter on it, its controller draws 2 cards. In normal Magic, this is the slowest card to exist.
Yeah,
and
super slow.
It's not relevant. But when you look at it through the view of Judge's Tower,
yeah, then it's really cool.
It just says another target creature. It does not have to be you control. Hey, that's a nice enter the battlefield ability you got over there. It'd be a shame if you had to do it again. That's a card that's a creature that's benefiting you. It'd be a shame if I exiled it and you drew 2 cards.
Uh-huh.
And so by starting off with these commanders, you get to have that immediate impact on the game. One being Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths.
Yep.
Standard Pioneer. Oh, I love this card so much.
It's a very good card.
Because the idea, the factor fiction, but face up, face down, is one of the most satisfying mind games of all time in normal Magic.
Yep.
When the card Fortune's Favor was in Eldritch Moon Limited, I played it that pre-release, and my opponent, Game 3, he had played a bomb, blew me out Game 2. On my end step, he cast it on me, and I look at and what Fortune's Favor says is that it's factor fiction, except it's you look at your opponent looks at your top 4 cards, puts a pile face up, pile face down, just like Atris. And so he cast that, and I said, sure. I look at his top 4 cards, and I go, well, I'm not beating that one. And I put 1 card face down and the other 3 face up. He immediately snags that 1 card. Basic Mountain.
Huh.
Because mind games are fun.
Yeah.
And in a format where some of these cards are very, very atrocious for you, doing a face up and face down and having your opponent choose from those is so funny to watch.
Mm-hmm.
When you put a card that is obviously terrible for them face up and then leave some other ones face down and you stare at them and they have to go, if that one's face up, how bad are the face downs? You get into the Princess Bride. Is he the type of person that will put the poison face up? Or would he know that I would think that he would put the poison face up? And so he put it face down.
Really fun effect.
It is. There are multiple copies of that card in the tower because of how fun that card plays out. It is phenomenal. Like I said, the whole list will be available, both the deck list and the rules list to look at. And it has taken a while to curate and get this list together. And again, there are a lot of cards that have some modifications to them to make them work within the format, but it has genuinely been some of the most fun that I have had with Magic because it encourages that social element. By being player versus environment, you're not encouraging that competitive, I gotta beat you. You're enjoying yourself. You're watching people, yeah, you lost to that. That's funny. Oh, I lost to this. You get to have those experiences. I bring it to me, to tournaments, to locals, to everything, and I'll have the giant tower sitting there. And either people who don't know what it is go, oh, what's that? And it's easy enough to explain in short enough terms that they can jump in and start playing and just have a good time, quick little, maybe 5 to 20 minutes in between rounds. Absolutely. Or the people that have played it before, see it. Oh, we can jam some tower in between rounds. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's the perfect thing to bring people together and enjoy that gathering aspect.
Yeah, I actually can agree because I just moved to the GR area. What is it, like January, February, Steven, something like that?
Yeah, right around there.
Because I moved in with Steven, and I decided I was gonna make Galactic my home store because it's the store I knew in the area because I came here for like some IQs and stuff and PPTQs back in the day. So I went there, and that's actually when I seen some of the teammates and stuff because I just joined the team and me and Steven joined at the same time. And you were there and stuff, and you were doing the Judges Tower, and you asked me if I've ever played when you went to like other tournaments because I've seen y'all played at the other events because like I've been to tournaments with Ray and Ray would jump in with you guys and stuff.
Yeah.
But I really didn't know you guys too well at that time, so I really didn't like go up and stuff like that because I usually sometimes just keep to myself and zone out. So I saw that, jumped in, and yeah, it was super easy to grass onto. You lose a lot at the beginning because, you know, there's some of those little small little things. I think I died to Castle Ventress twice.
I died to that one.
Oh, yeah. I've died to some Castle Ventress.
You are not alone. The amount of people that will just go Castle Ventress, scry 2, hey, man, where's your island to make that enter untapped, my dude?
That's funny. That's super funny.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's not untapped. Yeah, no, I died to that card, but no, it's like super fun. Yeah, it's just relaxing. You just have a good time, and I like that when you die, like you just jump right back in, be like, all right, take a new commander,
Yep.
jump back in. You can just keep going. Like we were doing it between rounds of was it the mystery booster draft,
Yeah.
which. By the way, I didn't get to add this because I forgot, but Mystery Booster Draft is like cube in pack form,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
especially
Oh,
at the
yeah.
event center.
Yeah, no, Danny. Yeah, the fun of Judge's Tower for me is getting to troll you. I enjoyed that quite a bit. So I'm really looking forward to the next time you're playing it, so I can hop in a game. I've got some new stuff planned this time.
Oh no, there's the new ban list came out for Judges Tower players, and oh no, you're on it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'll hop in anyway. We'll make it up to a vote.
Yeah,
We'll put it up to a vote for the players
Democracy.
at the table. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it turns out a format that is literally designed to you want to the format is designed to say, hey, let's play Magic. Let's play as much Magic as you can, and we're gonna enjoy each other playing it.
To give you kind of an insight to what I did to him last time, Larry, imagine my pace of play in Standard and cut that, or I guess double the amount of time it takes for me to make decisions. But I'm doing it intentionally, so I think it's
makes
funny.
me want to die.
You'll enjoy it. You'll love it. Because I remember I was doing it with like Jason Reed, some of the guys from up north Michigan, like Jason Reed and Luke Bishop. They were dying. They thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
Because everyone on the team, I think that everyone on the team knows I have a very, very fast pace of play. And any of the videos that Liberty Coins, the Liberty Coins event that I wanted, they recorded a lot of the matches, and you can watch the finals game where my opponent sits there, tanks on a decision for a minute and literally a minute and 10 seconds. It is all in failing whether he can survey. He's surveilling and sits there, and I have 12 points of damage on board. One of them's a Mausoleum Wanderer. He's at 13, and he sits there thinking about that surveil for 40 seconds, puts it in the trash, sits there, thinks for another 30 seconds, plays his land, taps, says go, and I go, you're at 13, correct? He goes, yep. And I go, all right, land, spirit, trigger, attack you. He goes, hold on, let me count. He tanked for a minute and 10 seconds after I told him I had 12 points of lethal on board, and he knows that the card Mausoleum Wanderer exists. What was he thinking about for that long of a time? And then still had to double check after I said lethal was on board.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you're about to die in a game, I think using a good amount of, like, if you're playing online, you have 25 minutes, you can use it how you want. So I think that's kind of reasonable, to be honest, but that's my opinion.
That's why you're not invited.
What's it?
That's why you're not invited to the Judges Tower anymore.
Oh, don't worry, it's gonna be a lot worse.
No, Judges Tower is a great way to, especially if you just want to wind down and just have fun.
You know, it's cool.
Like I'm a big fan of it.
It's funny.
Like Judges Tower, like I said, for casual Magic, I would put Judges Tower and cube drafting at the top of my list.
Yeah.
Sure. If I just wanted to have fun.
Yeah, Judges Tower really is a big hero to cube at that point, and that's the thing at the end of the day. If you notice, even though Stephen and I both love Judges Tower for entirely different reasons.
Yes.
That's again the best part about Magic. Is that you can like everything for different reasons.
Yep.
Again, going back to that sports example, people will being able to talk about not just a baseline appreciation of the game. You're able to have those social discussions, you're able to talk about the game and play the game in so many different ways.
Yep.
I think it's very important for people to not forget that.
Yeah, it is.
I think I think just currently, I mean, it is very much a climate where people forget that other people think differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
That the first response when someone says they don't like a thing that you do, your first response is typically a cuss word. Like, what? No, hold on. You have to like this because I like this. It's so defensive. And just realizing, hey, people like things for different things. That's okay.
Yep.
That's literally okay. And so the best way for Magic to be able to have the most amount of fun is to be able to find those formats and find those ways that everyone is able to have fun and appreciate something differently. And that's what both Cube and Tower are able to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep, no, I 100% agree, and that's like Magic, like casual Magic in a nutshell. Like you should, if you're not enjoying it, like just Magic in general, not just casual Magic, you should be enjoying it to some level. Like I said earlier, how I think competitive Magic is more work than fun.
There should
Like,
be some level.
There's
of
still some
casual to
there's
the
still
game
some
for
fun to it,
Yeah.
but it's just more like stressful to me than
Yeah.
if I can just take a step back, do some cube drafting, do regular drafting for that matter. It's all just those kind of things. Limited in general is like my area if I want to just have a good time, because I love limited just to wind down when it's not at a GP for like a main event or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Danny, thanks a ton for coming on today and sharing all this stuff with us, because I think it was really insightful for me, because you and I, honestly, we have very different opinions of like, we kind of, honestly, in some ways, it's like completely opposite of what we play the game for. So it was cool to listen to your take on these things.
Yeah, and because Magic is a game, we want to be having fun with this game, and I don't like seeing people just complaining about oh, Magic is terrible. If you're not having fun with something like
then do
this,
something else.
Stop throwing your head against the same wall.
Yeah, for sure.
Look around the room.
For sure, man.
You have no point in doing something if you're not having a good time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Danny, you got what do you got for aspirations for Magic in the future? What's your current plans?
Honestly, my current plans are very up in the void. I'm not sure where with post-COVID world and what's gonna go on with the state of Magic. I am looking, monitoring the state of the health of the formats and seeing what directions are going to be the best for me to push forward competitively, whether it be Modern or Pioneer, or what places to go where I'm still going to have fun with competitive. But bare minimum, I'm going to always enjoy and love this game because of all of the experiences and fun that I keep having with it.
That's good, man.
No, I agree. Yeah, just find what's going to be best for you to just play and have a good time.
Yep.
Hopefully, soon. Probably won't be in the near future, but eventually we'll get back into the game stores and we can play some Judges Tower and have a good old time like we were previously.
Absolutely.
Pre-COVID-19, I should say.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, it was a blast to have you on. Next week, I don't know what we're actually got lined up for next week. Next week maybe we'll do our Legacy podcast.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
I'll hit up some
Chase
of our
Masters.
Chase Masters is next week.
Okay,
That's right.
Chase,
Chase Masters is Mono White and Death and Taxes.
So a little preview to our special guest for next week, which, that's going to be awesome. That's an archetype Chase and I both really enjoy.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to be here just
telling us how bad it is.
Yep, especially how bad Thraven Inspector is. It's probably like the most unplayable card I've ever seen.
So thanks a ton, Danny, for coming on. It was awesome, and we will talk to you later.
Yep, we will catch everyone next week. This was Talking Swish with Larry and Steven with special guest Danny Peterson. And like I said, next week we'll talk to you about some Mono White.
Absolutely.
Until next time, we'll catch you later.
You then.
Take care, guys.